What happens when three runners
from different parts of the country
with different running stories
all get together?
Pure
RunTok
madness.
So listen in as we talk about all things running related.
And some things that maybe aren't running related.
As it's bound to be a good time. This is
RunTok Live.
Welcome to another episode of RunTok Live. Ladies and gentlemen, how is it going? Mr. Chase, Mrs. Carolyn Levingway.
What up, yo?
Still getting used to that last name, man.
Yeah.
Right?
How do you go from C-Mac to C-Lev? That doesn't really flow off the tongue quite as bad.
Did you notice the pause? I almost said Carolyn McDuff. Wait, Levingway. That's right.
I mean, I still go by that on Instagram. I don't know. That's how people know me. That's how the fans know me.
Do you sign your name differently now, or do you still sign it as Carolyn McDuff?
My signature is literally unreadable. So the people at the courthouse, or when you get your marriage license, were like, don't even worry about changing your signature. I was like, thanks. Cool. I'm going to go back to my first grade classroom now, because that's what my handwriting looks like. Thanks.
What's running weather like in Texas in the heart of winter right now?
It is. I had to look up the weather. It is 49 degrees, and it's just cloudy right now. So unseasonably warm.
Chase, probably a little different, but what do you got?
Well, actually, it's like we're getting like a mix of like warm rain stuff right now, so it's like nasty. It's real nasty.
Man, do y'all have like ice and snow?
We had snow like last week, like late last week, but it's mostly just like it really didn't get icy. It's too warm for ice, so it's just like the snow's melting and it's raining on top of it, so the ground's super soft and it's just disgusting. It's just not good right now. I'd prefer the snow. Give me the snow back.
I gotcha. I've seen a lot of people like in the TikTok community wearing like yak tracks or, you know, these cute little snow runs. And I'm like, I want that. We just get gross humidity.
Well, guys, we're talking about cold weather and winter weather running. Our guest today, I believe, is probably in the coldest area of them all. We'll have to see. But today we've got the one and only Mr. Rob Dalto, a.k.a. The Pursuit of Performance on social media, here joining us today on RunTok. Rob, welcome to the podcast.
Yo, what's shaking? Thanks for having me.
What's going on? Jumping on the questionnaire here. What's winter weather in New York right now?
Yo, it sucks. It was like real field temperature of like 6 degrees on Saturday and then like 8 on Sunday. And my A race for the spring is Boston, so I'm all about the hills. So we're just taking over the bridges, taking wind gusts to the face, and it was pretty brutal. Today we were closer to 25, so we're thawing out, and then it's gonna be better the rest of the week. But yeah, hopefully this is the worst of it.
That's frozen tear weather, right? Running.
Oh
up
yeah,
the
straight
bridge.
crying. Yeah, it's bad. It's just ugly crying. Yeah, it's bad. It's not good.
Oh man, Chase, did you ever get down to that 6 degree wind chill weather up there?
Where I'm at? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I think last weekend I ran 14 in -8 with a wind chill was -20, I think, that day.
Whoa.
Rob, so for the listeners that are here, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a brief elevator pitch of Rob Dalto's running background.
Yeah, hey, been running for a real long time. Got into marathons about 7 or 8 years ago. A couple of years back, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and my sister and I went on a journey to go after the 6-star medal, the Abbott 6. And we were finishing up that journey together this year. And in the process, I ended up signed up for all 6 World Majors in 2023. And so I thought that was kind of cool. So I started talking about it on the internet. And fast forward, here we are into 2024, and I'm running it back.
That's awesome. You're going to do it again this year?
Yeah, this year I'm going to do all 6 World Marathon Majors and Sydney, which is now appearing to be the leading contender to become the 7th.
Yeah, I hear, and you'll probably know more if I do. If you do Sydney this year, whether it's branded as a major or not, you'll get a star credit towards the majors once it does become a major. You know what I mean? If you were to do it this year, that's what someone was telling me.
Yes, there's one caveat that only applies if you are participating in the Wanda Age Group Championships, World Championships.
Okay.
So for your general participant like myself, that will not apply. You need to be in the World Age Group Championships program. So this is the first time they've ever held the Age Group World Championships not in one of the World Majors. So as a way to incentivize folks to go do this, they were like, we're going to give you a provisional star. So it's an important caveat. I thought that too when I first read it. I was already planning on doing the race anyway, but then I was like, oh, I'm even more excited. And then somebody was like, hey man, are you like, I don't think you qualify for the age group. No. They're like, yeah, you're not getting a star. I'm like, fuck.
Well, get yourself in the age group championships, Rob. Come on.
So you have, by the way, age group. I don't know why this is age group world championships. It's 40 plus.
It's the masters only. Yeah. So it's
like, what's up with that?
Like, yeah, come on. That's how it's always been. I don't know why. I have a couple of friends doing it this year, and that's how I came to know it. And I had a couple of friends that did it when it was in London, and they were just all masters runners. They would only accept masters runners in.
Yeah. So I guess so now I'm learning about that. But yeah, so for that group, they'll get a provisional star.
Well, there you
So
go.
I have a question. How did you get into all 6 of the majors?
So I'll go in order. Tokyo, charity. Boston, qualified. London, charity. Berlin, charity. Chicago, qualified. New York, the 9+1 program. So a lot of charitable contributions going on.
Yeah, that 9+1 program, for the listener, that's through the Roadrunners.
It is
program.
a huge, it's the New York Roadrunners, which is like the governing body that presents puts on the New York City Marathon. It is the biggest hack for locals in New York. They put on probably 30 plus races throughout the year in the area. Like almost every weekend, there's a run going on in Central Park or somewhere. You participate in 9 of them, you volunteer at 1, and they will guarantee you a place in the marathon. You have to pay, but you're guaranteed a place. And so it's a bit of a rite of passage for folks in the New York area. It's really fun. So like 2 weeks ago was the Joey Kleinerman 10K. It's the first race of the year. And there's like 6,000 people in the race. And it's just the only reason you're there is because you're ticking away at your 9+1. Like people are just like, I've got no interest in hammering a 10K on like a freezing Saturday in January. I'm just here for the credit. It's really funny. So yeah, it's a fun program to be part of in the community. And like a lot of them you just do as part of like your long run, it just vibing. So it's cool.
Now, through that program, do you still submit a time for for corral placement?
So they will take, I forget if you still do a predicted time or if they'll leverage. I think you still put in a predicted time. I don't think for the marathon they base you off of your other New York Roadrunners races. I think it's the same. I don't remember though. Honestly, I forget.
Got it. Yeah, I was just curious. Now you were talking about your marathons you did. I was checking out your Instagram. I don't do a lot on Instagram. I kind of jumped away from that over to TikTok. But on Instagram, if I read it correctly, it says you've done 23 marathons. Does that sound accurate?
Yep.
Dude, that is crazy.
Yeah. I started off
in.
Yeah, it's just kind of I don't know how it happened, honestly. So I moved to London in 2015 for work, and I was like, oh, I should do the London Marathon. Of course, it was full, so I didn't do it. But that year, my first year doing marathons, I did like 5, and none of them were fast, but I was like using it as a way to like see different cities. And so I did like Rome and Paris and Reykjavik and Stockholm and Athens and one on Sicily. And like when my friends didn't want to travel, I'd be like, all right, like who's got a marathon going on? And I would just like go sit down, have myself a huge dinner, a bottle of wine, and then the next morning go like tour whatever town I was in via the marathon. and then go home. And like, I wasn't breaking any speed records. I don't think I maybe cracked 4 hours like once, but I was just using it as a way to kind of get around and see places. And then kind of to like the latter part of the journey I was telling you about, with after my dad got sick, I wanted qualifying for Boston to be part of my experience going through the majors process. So I started getting back into like doing some races here, like Philly, and then then we got into like Chicago and Berlin, and so some of the majors I've done multiple times. But during that stint in Europe, I actually like knocked out a bunch of like pretty cool international ones.
That's I'm a little envious. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, it was funny. Me and Chase were on before this, and I was telling Chase, because I was writing stuff down. And I was writing down all the marathons I've done because, I thought I've done a lot, and then I saw you did 23. I was like, all right, how many did I really do? Like, I'm not close to 23, by the way. I think
What'd you get to?
backtracked to 12. I was like, I
Solid.
can remember 12 marathons that I've done.
That's great. What's your favorite one?
My favorite one, in all honesty, I don't know. Indianapolis Monumental, and Chase is gonna love this. It keeps climbing up there, like as I like think about it more and more. And it might have just been because the conditions were so great that particular day of this year that I did it. But prior to that, I mean, probably Chicago. Chicago is my favorite marathon. I've done it a couple times, and I like it.
What year did you run?
The last time I did it was in I did it. What's the year you did it, Karen? 2018? 2019?
I did 21.
Did I do it in 2021? I did it in 2019 and I believe 2017. It was
sunny day that
right.
day. I did 2017. I remember getting a little sunburn. Sunrise, Chicago.
Sunburn. But yeah, I've done it twice. So no, you know what? It was 2 years ago I did it. It was right after the pandemic. Like,
okay,
that was the last time I did it, I should say. But yeah, it's my favorite. I love running through just downtown Chicago and through Chinatown. Like when you get to that section, when you run through Chinatown, I love how it's flat and fast, and you run underneath the city for a little bit. Like, it's just such a cool course, and the RunTok community there, it's gigantic. There's just so many people out there that, they all get together for a little party. I'm a little jealous, and that's why all three of us are doing Chicago again this year in October.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I was definitely super impressed with Chicago this past year. It was my first time there since 2017. So like my first time through all the majors, like when I finished, like, and I actually got my 6-star in London, that was like 8-year journey to get through it once, and then kind of overlapped with doing them all in 1 year. So like with that period of time, you kind of forget like what some of the races are like. And so going out there this year, I was like, oh yeah, Chicago was kind of meh. I was so impressed. Like the vibes were great. It like definitely boosted the race in my mind, like, and the whole city. And then Jacob, to your point, like the post-race party, I think it was like we run 3-1. I forget what run group it was, put on this banging party afterwards at this like huge event hall. Like had to be 1,000 people there. Everyone was there. People were absolutely raging. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's I mean, Chicago as a city, there's just so many, just like New York City, there's just so many runners there that just have a passion for running. I've always said there's no wrong reason for running, and I love hearing everyone's stories. Why do you run? And Chicago has so many cool stories there.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. Carolyn, how are you doing after Houston?
So that's Houston did not go. Houston did not go how I wanted it to go. Let me just say that.
Okay. What happened?
I'm good. Like recovery, I did an easy pace, so I was good. But I'm in an off season right now, and I'm struggling because I didn't do what I wanted to do at Chicago, and my coach is like, "You are not revenge signing up for a race. You are not allowed." So I'm just kind of like getting into the fun run season, and I don't think I've ever had a fun run season. So
And so
I'm
nothing
doing
on
all
the
right.
calendar until Chicago?
Yeah, well, kind of. I'm fun running a couple 5Ks. I got into the New York City United Half in
Oh,
March.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to try and PR my half at the Santa Rosa Marathon in, when is that? August? Yes, August. So
Nice. That'd be fun.
very pumped. Yeah. So are you doing any other marathons or half marathons besides the World Majors?
So those 7 marathons will be like my marathon calendar. I'm
Mhm.
doing the New York City half as well, doing the Disney half in a couple of weeks down in Orlando as well. We've got a pretty funny crew going down for that. That'll be great. I've got my Woody costume. We're going Toy Story. So let's see, where's Woody? I got the whole Woody fit ready to rip. So that's just going to be absolutely hilarious. And then we got what else? Yeah, maybe I'll do the Brooklyn half TBD, and then I've got like the 9+1s. So I'll do a ton, but like those are all just going to be fun runs. I like don't think I'll race them. Like I just don't care to. I'll just really focus my training around the marathons.
Rob, you'll
Tough
have
enough
to
to stay
check
healthy
out.
through all of them.
You'll have to check out our last. I think it was our last episode, Carolyn, where our entire episode was dedicated to the Disney races.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if it's
Because
interested.
so I live down by Orlando. I'm not too far from Orlando, and I do 2 Disney races a year. I'm not doing the one you're doing. Well, I'll probably be down there because I like to go down and watch those races.
Hell yeah.
But I've done it. So you're talking about the Princess Half, right? Is that the one that you're doing?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's called the Princess Half. But yeah, I won't say they're fun. If you're going down to just have fun and have a good time, like the Disney races are a blast. They're a
Yeah, we
blast.
got a good crew. It's gonna be all vibes.
Nice.
Are y'all all going to be Toy Story characters, or is everybody picked a different?
Yeah, no, we committed that we'd pick a theme. I was hoping for Little Mermaid. I wanted to be Sebastian the lobster, but our organizer in chief chose Toy Story. So
Well,
I feel like that's
there's a lot
there's a
more
lot of characters.
characters in Toy Story. Like Toy
a
Story,
lot of
there'll be
characters.
Toy Story characters out there too. So you'll get the Army Men. The Army Men are always along the course.
Nice.
The Green Army Men. So you'll see.
Yeah,
a
we'll
ton of
join
them.
forces with whoever, whatever. If we see another Toy Story crew, like we're absolutely joining forces.
Oh yeah, you'll see them. It'll be fun. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to check these out. So, Carolyn, I don't know if you know this. When Rob did the Berlin Marathon, you got to interview Kipchoge.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you got to sit down at the same table with Kipchoge and interview him. Tell us about that, Rob.
I don't remember. I blacked out.
Right.
So I mean, I've been super fortunate to build a relationship with Abbott over the course of last year, and we did some social stuff last year. And going into that weekend, I had zero clue anything of the sort was a possibility or even on the table. And I guess the circumstances worked out just perfectly, where the stars aligned, because he won the race, so he was had a speaking engagement commitment to his team sponsors, but he didn't break the world record, which he probably would have been on with the BBC and stuff. So there was this opportunity, and they were like, all right, like who that they didn't know that they were going to have allocated. And I got a call after the race like an hour before, and they're like, get over here, get over to the hotel, like you're about to meet the GOAT. And I was like, what is going on? I was so scared. It was crazy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw that video, I was like, "Is this CGI? Like, is this real life?"
I was wondering the same thing,
Rob,
but
they're sitting together.
it was real, yeah. And we were there for a while. It was like 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. So It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was wild. It was that whole trip was a just crazy experience. That Berlin for me is like really meaningful, just like for personal reasons and like a lot of family memories and stuff there. So going to Berlin is always really special for me. And like having the experience that I did this year, I was like, this is just I was riding high for like 2 weeks after. I just like could not come down from the experience. It was so cool.
Yeah.
I found the picture with the goat, and you look so professional, and Kipchoge looks like he's so excited to meet you because he's just grinning and you're just professional looking. So good for you. I would look like an idiot.
Well, it's kind of funny because I felt like an idiot because like the people that were there, we brought our medals. You know, we're like, what do we do? So we like put our medals on, and then they're like, of course, the guy who wins the race is in like flip flops and a t-shirt. He probably doesn't even have a medal, and we're like, okay, yeah, I'm an asshole over here wearing a medal, looking like a buffoon. So yeah, that was pretty self-conscious about that. But I guess they snapped the picture at the right moment that he was smiling. But I don't know. We're not on speed dial yet. Like we don't text very much, him and I, but maybe someday.
Now, did you take advantage and did you get an autograph? That's a yes. That's a yes.
I'm so excited to see.
So, yeah, so he signed the medal.
What?
And then here's the bib. And then I got the bib.
Okay,
yeah, awesome.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, so I got those. And then actually I got pretty lucky. So in Chicago, after the race, I got Safan Hassan, and Kiptum was there, but like it was such mayhem because he just broke the world record that they like shuffled him out and they were like no photo ops because everyone was being like misbehaved. It was like a frenzy. But I got Safan, so that was dope. Yeah.
I am so jealous.
Actually, you just reminded me of something, Rob. You said you're going down to Disney in a couple weeks here. Are you going to be down there at all for the trials?
I didn't have like a formal reason to go. I thought about just booking a flight. I'd say there's like a 15% chance that I still do. Just because I like love talking to runners and like sharing their stories, and like I'd love to just like go talk to a couple people there and post some videos and whatnot. But nothing like formally worked out to go down there, so I'm not booked to. But you're gonna be down there. You're gonna go. I mean, surely you gotta go watch.
Yeah, so I think I told you offline that I'm on the board of directors for a nonprofit running organization.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Our board, or a good chunk of the board members, are going down there. There's a guy on my team who's actually been on our podcast. He actually qualified for the trials, so he's going to be racing.
Cool.
There's only 2 people in the state of Florida that qualified, and he's one of the 2. So we're going to go down and cheer him on. And of course, I'm going to take advantage and try to interview as many people as possible and get some footage for the running world.
Yeah, how cool. That's amazing.
I'm excited. But yeah, I was gonna say, if you're gonna be down there, we need to connect for a run.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I'll let you know if I do. Chances are not, but if I like on a whim look and flights are cheap, I'll just be like, I'm coming down. And I know enough people down there. I'll be like, yo, I'm staying in your hotel with you.
I was gonna say, flights will be cheap. Hotels not so much. Hotels are like, to get a hotel anywhere on the course right now, if there's anything even available, you're talking like $500-600 a night.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh,
damn. Yeah, I was wondering like how many people are like going down for it, because like I forget how many qualifiers are there total.
Like how many people are running?
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to say the women, they capped it at 125, and then I don't remember what the men were. So I mean, it's going to be, we're probably looking at 400 people.
Yeah, plus like said an extra room on average for each as well, just like family and friends and stuff coming out. But I wasn't sure if that would like make a dent in like prices down there, because like Orlando gets like, I mean, the whole area gets a lot of people just from tourism in general. But I guess there will be a lot of stuff going on around it.
And there's so many runners here, Rob. When we were living in New York, we shopped around all the states, where we wanted to move. And obviously, finding a big running community was like probably one of the most important things to me. And we chose Florida because of the running world here in Florida. Like, it is insane.
Yeah, but that's sick. It's like super hot.
That's what I love it. I love it. My wife's from Thailand. We're used to the heat. I'm originally from California, so I love the heat.
All right. Fair enough.
I can't do that white stuff up in New York, man. If I had never see snow again, I'm happy.
Well, we almost never get it anymore. I mean, when it snowed last week, it was like the first time in like it had almost been 2 full years. So like last winter we had no measurable snow. Yeah, so we've been on a bit of a drought.
Crazy. Well, we keep. I'm sorry Chase can't be on right now. He's having technical issues, but you still got the two of us, which is cool.
Yeah, he's got to pay. He's got to pay his cable bill.
Yeah, I know. He's got issues in nowhere, Indiana. Like, what? I did have a question, though. Your Instagram says fueled by my own nutrition. What does that mean?
I make my own gels and electrolytes.
How do you do that? That's cool.
Just over there in my kitchen. I just make them. I taught myself. I mean, basically, I was like I loved Morton gels, but they're so expensive. And if you really want to be fueling properly, like, I mean, as you both know, like training for marathon, it's like you should really be consuming a lot of this stuff. And what I found was I would underconsume on my runs because I didn't want to fucking pay for it. I didn't want to pay for it. And but the reality is, like, even if I'm out, like, anytime you're out for like over an hour, like, you really should be taking stuff. And I wasn't doing it. And so I was like, there's got to be a better way. And so I figured out how to make hydrogels, which is a science experiment. Proper chemistry, failed a bunch of times. So that was kind of cool. But most of the time now I just make really simple gels. I mean, they're more syrup than anything, where it's just basically like dissolving the sugars, and then sometimes if I want to spice things up, I'll put some flavors in, just like natural flavors like dehydrated mango, and then you give it a little zest with like citric or malic acid or something. The ingredients in this stuff is actually very, very simple. It's ridiculous how highly priced some of these products are. And then like making electrolytes is super, super easy. Like, I mean, you look at like, I mean, I take stuff, I still have other company stuff like Element. So like they're naked, it's sodium, potassium, magnesium. Like that's it. And then, just about anything else, like at a minimum, throw in some natural flavor, a little bit of stevia if they want to sweeten it up, some citric acid for flavor. Like that's it. It's really simple stuff. This stuff's super accessible. It's super cheap. So, you can make this stuff. Like I've got some, let's see, I got Relight here. I actually really like their pina colada flavor, but you've got, magnesium, sodium, potassium, and that's it. That's it. So super easy, super cheap to make this stuff. And so I train with my own. I mean, I'll still like, if I'm in a pinch, I don't have a batch, I'll run over to Fleet Feet and get stuff. But like right now, I've got a batch that would probably last me like 2 weeks. And then I use all this stuff for like racing in particular. So like I just set a PR in Chicago that was all using my own stuff, both the electrolytes and the gels for the entire race. So just kind of proving it can be done.
That's okay. So do you add like caffeine to those gels, or do you kind of go use the like electrolytes for that?
Yeah, I'll put I'll mix the caffeine into the gels, because typically what I'll actually do for a race with the electrolytes is I'll take a 2-ounce squirt bottle and I'll dissolve like 2 or 3 grams of sodium and like the whole blend into that. And then during the race, I'll squirt it into water cups. So like a lot of people don't fuel electrolytes during races, which is like a huge miss. So I'll have that with me. And then I started also separately like doing the Morton bicarb system for like big races, I'll like train and use that. So I've got like a big hit of sodium before the race, and then I'll start usually like halfway through, just putting it into my water cups, and then I'll probably finish it off by like mile 22. So for that middle part of the race, I'll be squirting it in my water cups like every other mile. But the caffeine I always put in the gels, and so I'll alternate, like, whatever. I'll come up with the right strategy. But then you could throttle how much you want. So like I'll say I'll do 200 milligram caffeine gels, and then like maybe I'll have one that's like 50 or something, and depending on what kind of coffee I can have, I get pretty dialed with it. But when you make it yourself, you can do that. Like you can get super controlled in it. The gels I make are actually like quite a bit more carbohydrate than you would typically find. Like a Goo brand gel or like a Morton, you've got like 21 or 25 grams of carbohydrate. Like all mine are like 30 to 33 grams. And like I really push the carb intake. So like during races, I'm doing 90 grams an hour. So I usually try to aim like 90, 100 grams an hour. So I got to make like 30-gram gels, hit them every 20 minutes. And so you can just kind of throttle it, because you've got control over like what quantities you're putting in this stuff. So
are the gels that you're making, are they, for all intents and purposes, considered isotonic?
Well, what needs to happen in it to make it isotonic?
Basically water infused.
Water, yeah.
Take water with it.
From what I've seen, I don't think so.
That it doesn't need water with it?
Yeah, like Goo, Goo, for example, you have to take water with Goo in order to properly consume Goo.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
gel, you don't have to because they're considered isotonic gels.
Yeah. No, it depends on if I'm making a hydrogel or not. So like hydrogel is like the conceptual form of like the Morton gels, like that more jello-y one. So if I'm making those, then don't need water. The ones that I make would be more of the like Goo type, but they're not quite as thick. So I'll often take them on runs and not wash them down. Like if it's like a run where I only need like one gel and I'm not taking water, I'm totally fine with that. So they're a little bit thinner, but I don't make them of such overall volume, like liquid volume, that they're watered down as much as like the SIS one, for example. I like them pretty dense. But overall, because there's not like extra ingredients, like my 30 or 33 gram gels are the same size as a Goo pack, because there's just like not extra stuff in it that's consuming volume space.
Right on. Yeah, I had to go through like a series of gels to really find the one gel that truly fit all my needs. And unfortunately, it's a very expensive gel, which is SIS. So, it's not cheap. And now they don't even.
Which one do you like that they have?
So I like the Better Fuel series that they got.
Yeah.
And then for flavoring, it's the strawberry lime. But I'll do any of the Better Fuel flavors, just because there's more calories in there, and that's really where my miss is coming from, is the loss of calories through my long runs. And then here in Florida, you need more sodium. That's just a reality. You need a lot more salt here, especially with summertime training. So those tend to hit the spot for what my needs here in Florida are.
Yeah, because those are, you got 40 grams of carbs in there. Solid.
Yep.
Love to see it.
Like I got them right here. Yeah,
I'm looking at like 3 different gels. I'm curious.
Well, the SIS ones, and again, what stinks about these is they're only, like, you can only get them through the feed now. That's pretty much the only, like, through SIS, the Better Fuel ones, they're typically almost always sold out on their websites. So I get them through the feed. Amazon doesn't do them anymore. And they're shipped from the UK. So they're not cheap. But
yeah, that's right. I remember them when I was living in London, like it was all SIS. I'm like, what is this stuff? Like, we never had this. That and like Lucozade. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, Chase, he called out one of your gels that you like, because you're a fan of Element, right?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
That was. Yep, we hear
you. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Element. In fact, right now I'm kind of back on the wagon. I was trying to find something a little different or cheaper for a while, but I like mixing in the chocolate salt into my protein shakes. I really like it this time of year because it makes a great warm drink. Like if you make like a hot tea and mix in some any kind of element with it. It's delicious.
Yeah, I've seen them marketing that.
They're marketing it, but you can do it with any of them. Like you can do it with any. Yeah.
That's cool.
Rob, do you see yourself ever taking your gels like to distribution?
Yeah.
Is that kind of a next goal, or if you can't talk about it, can't talk?
I'd probably start with electrolytes, just to test like the business model. Can I actually get distribution? Can I create like a decent brand? Because like electrolytes have just like a much larger market, so it'd be a much better entry point, even though it's a super saturated market, versus trying to launch like totally niche with like a newer product. So I'd start there before getting to like what I think is really like a materially differentiated product.
You heard it here, guys. Rob's going to be on Shark Tank one of these seasons.
Cuban.
Say that. Do not settle for anybody other than Mark Cuban. Okay, Cuban will take you far, man.
We had Rob. We partnered with a up and coming company a while back called Source Soap, and Source Soap, they actually recently filmed Shark Tank. In fact, their episode is going to be premiering here in the next couple of months. But I don't know if
awesome.
Chase. Yeah, I don't know if you guys knew that, Chase or Carolyn.
Nah.
But, and you can see them on TikTok. So their Source Soap was really big, but they're kind of the same concept as your gels. Like they created this organic soap that's in the shape of a muscle scraper, so you can scrape your muscles while you're washing yourself.
Oh yeah. I've seen this.
Yeah, they were pretty cool, but apparently, I don't know. He won't say if he actually made a deal or not. He's not allowed to, but he talks about how he was on Shark Tank and it's going to be premiering here soon.
Well, if he failed, he probably wouldn't have told you about the episode.
I'm pretty sure there's some contractual issues where he can't say like anything, really. So we'll see. But yeah, Rob, Shark Tank. That's where we got to get you next. Yep.
Once I have a product, then we can we go pitch it. So got a little ways to go, but done some experimenting, done some exploring. There's things happening.
Well, and you probably, and again, I'm only saying fancy words. I don't actually know what I'm talking about, but you probably have to go through like FDA, right?
Not for electrolytes.
Not for electrolytes?
Yeah, it depends on the. It's a bit short to say how edible it is. So it depends on what the product. It depends on exactly what the specifications of the product, but electrolytes don't. There's ways to skirt it, basically. Not skirt it, but like where it's not required.
Okay. Well, that's one hurdle you can kind of knock off the track right there.
Yeah,
so.
it helps fast track like experimenting as well. So it's another fringe benefit.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna ask this. I don't know if you're gonna be able to answer it. Your favorite marathon that you have done so far?
I mean, not only is it what I think is the best race, but my singular favorite of the 23 was the 2023 New York City Marathon. Straight up, excellent vibes, excellent race execution. They crushed it. Like they organized such a good event. New York. Who's done New York?
None of us.
I've never raced it. I've been there for it.
Oh man! All right. Well, so we got to get that on the docket for everybody here.
They got to be a better seller to me. Like I don't know. Like I look at it on paper. It's on my list. Don't get me wrong, but I look at it on paper, and it's my absolute least. That I'm looking forward to it the least because I see you getting up and waiting around all morning to run the most difficult of the 6 majors, and then having to walk extra 2 miles through Central Park after you're done. So anyway, that's what I see when I look at New York City.
Yeah. So fair shout on the walk after is tough. And this is why I'll say that this year was special. You do have logistically the most complex, no doubt about it. And you have to get all the way out of Staten Island. But This year, the operations were like super smooth. Like I rolled right down to the ferry, take the ferry over, got right on the bus. Bus brought you over to the start village. Village was not a cluster F. They had rescue dogs. You could go pet dogs while you waited to get in your corral. They had Dunkin' Donuts out there. You get as much coffee as you wanted. It was awesome. It was super good. They really, really did a good job logistically. So like all the chaos and stuff that you would typically see, and I'm not saying hasn't happened. Like it's definitely in years past been less well operationalized like on race day, but this year they smashed it, and like it was a nice day. It was like a good balance of like the weather was really good for spectators, slightly warm for runners if they wanted a PR, but like still like perfectly fine. We're talking like a couple degrees warmer than ideal. So it like the city showed up. Like it was insane how special of a day it was for like all reasons. The only thing that didn't change, Chase, to your point, is it's still a tough course. But I wasn't out chasing a PR. So I think it was the best executed version and best all around version of New York, which I think between the wires, start to finish, is the best race on the planet. Marathon on the planet.
See, everybody says that too. You know, everybody that I talk to that's done New York talks about how amazing it is, and that's just, especially after I did Boston, because like when I did Boston and the one-way trip, the trip out to Hopkinton and waiting around all morning was it was horrible. Of course, granted, context to it, I lost my buddy that I went to Boston with. We didn't meet up in the morning at the right time, so I didn't have him. I spent basically the entire time looking for him. So that being said, maybe I should give New York a little bit more of a fair shake.
What year did you run Boston?
21.
Okay, and that was kind of the weird one because that was the fall one, right? What there was like the first one back. No.
22. I'm sorry, I ran in 22. My bad.
Oh, 22. Okay.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, 21 was the fall one. You're correct. I ran in 22.
Got it. Yeah, we had nice weather that day though. It was.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was really nice.
The one thing that I appreciated about like going to the starting line there in Hopkinton is like you're really like walking through like that little neighborhood there. Like people are like out on their stoop, like barbecuing at like 7 a.m. like on the beer.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
This is so Boston right now. Like this is hilarious.
It was a great time too, a great experience too. So like I have no reason to think that New York would be any different.
Yeah,
Boston was
unique
not a good experience for me. Boston.
When did you run?
So I did it the year of the storm,
2018.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It was horrible. It was horrible. Just Athlete Village was just a mud pit, and it was just walking in the rain. I tell it, the story often, but basically from mile 17 on, I walked into every single porta potty just to stand there for like 3 or 4 minutes and get out of the cold weather and the rain. Like it was, I ended up running over 5 hours, which is not a marathon time for me. And I'm pretty sure I should have medically been pulled from that race several times. But the memorable part about it is that's the year that Des Linden won, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, man, and then of course that's the first race that my now wife goes to, and I think she's scarred from that. She's like, I never want to go to a race ever again.
Now that whole like why we wanted to live in Florida is like piecing together a little bit more for me. Like it only takes one of those race experiences to be like, no, I'm not going to even risk this being a potential factor again. Like I'm out.
Though I don't know what it is, man. I will say this. I've gotten slower since I moved to Florida, and it is because of the humidity and the heat, but I'm happier. Like I'm running slower, but I'm running happier, and I'm okay with that.
Jake, do you know what brand's phrase is "run happy"?
We don't bring up that brand here on RunTok Live because we only talk about like good brands. Nike.
I just went over 50 miles in my Ghost Maxes.
Yeah, you did. Did you hear that, Jake?
No, I didn't hear that. I heard I put 50 miles in and then it cut out after that. That's weird.
Yes! For the listener, Rob just pulled out the most beautiful Brooks shoe I have ever seen.
Yeah. No, we're anti-Brooks here, Rob.
Oh,
No,
man.
we're just joking. We give Carolyn a hard time. She's on the Brooks One Happy team.
Y'all,
Me and Chase have applied a couple of times. We don't get picked. But that's also because we bash Brooks quite a bit. So
I can't imagine they're going to pick you after the glaring review you just provided.
so, y'all are big Nike fans, you know? This is the Elite, or the Brooks Hyperion Elite. Literally feels like the Vaporfly 3s.
see, now hold that up closer. Hold that up closer to the camera. That looks like a significant change from the Hyperion Elite 2s, which right there. And
Even has the same like cushioning on the heel that the Vaporflies do. Like they're light, just ridiculous. Fantastic.
Rob, what's your go-to marathon race day shoe?
Metaspeed Sky.
Okay.
Now, are you part of the ASICS team? Because I see you run in a lot of ASICS shoes.
Not officially. I've just been a fanboy. I mean, I've just been running in like the 2000 series and the Kayanos for the better part of the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just been like my go-to shoe. And it's only like in the last year where I've been like talking about my running journey online that like all of a sudden some like other shoes have been thrown my way that I even really have anything else, because I'm kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't necessarily believe in like having an arsenal of like 8 different shoes that you rotate. But I had been racing in, I really liked the Vaporflies, hated the Alpha Flies, but like Kipchoge wore them, so like I will wrap my feet in tape and bleed if it means I might save 15 seconds. So I always wore them. And I didn't really love the way the Metaspeed Skies felt when I put them on. And I think it was because they didn't feel different enough. Like when I put on like the Alpha Flies, I'm like, whoa, I'm bouncing. I'm like moving on my toes. But then I actually had the opportunity to do some like foot pressure mapping and like do some like gait analysis stuff like with different shoes on. And I basically realized like the fact that a shoe feels really different is not necessarily a good thing. In fact, it can be actually bad because it means it's really altering your gait in a significant way. And yes, that might be an advantage, but it's also going to come at a consequence in how it allocates, additional pressure onto different your foot and your joints in different ways. And then so when I wore the Metaspeed Sky and I raced in them, and not only did I PR, but I felt great. Like I didn't walk out of the race with the lingering Achilles injury, which is like very common every time I raced in my Alpha Flies. So I'm not saying they're a faster shoe, but they've proven to be better for me because I don't leave there with an Achilles injury. And like what I learned in the foot pressure mapping analysis was like when you wear these super shoes that are putting you more in your forefoot, if you're in a more forefoot gait, that pressure gets disproportionately allocated to your lower limbs, like in your calf, your Achilles, your ankle, versus like a more even allocation, which could then be more like knee, hip, other stuff. Like if you're with more of like a rear foot heel strike. So that was kind of like a big lesson for me. So now I just stick with the Metaspeeds.
And that I'm going to pitch you for a second, Rob, or sell you for a second to the listener out there. If you guys aren't following Rob, aka Pursuit of Performance, on social media, Instagram and or TikTok, I highly advise you check him out because he has you dive into the science of running pretty heavily. Whether it be the nutritional aspect of it, or like you were just talking about the gait aspect of it, the body mechanics, I should say, of it, almost as in like a kinesiology level of educate, of perspective, I should say. Like when you do your body fat analysis, when you do your videos on how much sodium do you think you're losing, when you sweat, which I love those videos that you do. And then the VO2 max stuff that you've done, like all that stuff. Most runners don't realize how important all that stuff plays a factor in your performance, right? And that's why I say it's key. It's in your performance that these things add up. It's, to the average person, it might not seem like a big deal, but it is. And I love that you take it so seriously and you have fun with it at the same time too. So check out his stuff, guys. That's my pitch. Sorry, I had to throw it out there, but you do a lot of cool stuff. My favorite videos. I'm crushing a little bit, but my favorite videos are you. How much sodium do you think you lose when you sweat? I love when you do those.
Appreciate it. Yeah, look, like I love this stuff for like because I want to know like how can I get better? But like it's so crazy that this stuff is available now. Like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, like these weren't even like things. Like I never in my life thought I would be able to take a VO2 test. Like that was like you have to be like not only like the 1% of elite like professionals to get a VO2 test. And like the fact that those are even like accessible now, I get it. Like it's not readily available for everyone, but like if I can take my learnings and then figure out a way to like help somebody maybe get some of those insights in a different way that is more accessible and then apply them to their benefit, like that's a win. And so like even with the sweat test, it's if somebody has a light bulb moment that's like even just I need to take in more sodium, that's a win. If like with the VO2 thing, it's about understanding like when to do speed versus how to back off and like balance like, 80-20 rule or something similar. Like I just want to like get some of that information out there because it's like we just have access to so much more and it makes a huge difference. So I love sharing that knowledge out.
For sure.
Definitely stuff more people need to hear. We get caught up. I think a lot of influencers get caught up in the, hey, do this quick fix because it'll do X to you. But at the end of the day, like you said, there's just basics. There's just a lot of basics that you need to do and do the right thing for you. And there's a lot of tools out there now more than ever to help you figure those things out, like your gait and like your VO2. So yeah.
My coach posted this picture that I really loved. It was a picture of a cupcake. And he was like, this is like what training really is. And like the cupcake itself had three things. It was like a good training plan, sleep and recovery, and like good eating habits and nutrition. And then like the icing was like, lasers and sauna and cold plunge and like all the like accoutrement that we like probably hear as like 60% of the information that's thrown at us, but is really like, look, the icing's nothing if you don't have the cupcake, like a good cake to put it on. Like that's really what matters. And like without those three things, the other stuff doesn't really matter. So yeah. Totally.
And it doesn't hurt to like do a reset either. Like I'm doing that right now. Like I've realized I did a lot of reflecting on, like my PRs and how I was training whenever I ran my fastest marathon. And it was just really about getting back to the basics for me. So, like you said, get a good training plan in, get some good sleep, eat good. That's all I'm worrying about right now. Everything else is just kind of fog.
Totally. Like what were you feeling was out of whack that made you reset?
A lot of just trying to fit too much in, I think I was trying to do too much. I wanted to do the strength work and the stretching and the massage. I wanted to do it all and try to fit it all in. And it was just too much. And I had to take a step back and remember what I was doing when I was running at my peak and just get back to that. And we can kind of work these other special things in here and there as time goes. But the basics is really what I needed to get back to.
Yeah, totally. Good on you.
Now, Rob, you were saying you have a coach. Do you coach too, or have you thought about coaching?
No, I actually like get the question all the time because like I definitely talk like in coach-esque ways, but I don't. I don't think I will. I like advise my friends. Like if somebody I know and they're like, hey, like, can you help me? I'm like, of course. But like I don't take on like clients or anything. But like I think what people have seen is like even though now I'm like recreationally fast, like sub 3, after my first 9 marathons, my personal best was 3:55. Like it took me 10 marathons or 11 marathons before I got materially under 4 hours. And like 4 hours is still a good marathon time, but like I get it. Like I know what it's like to like work your ass off and be running like over 4 hours in a marathon. And then like I know what it's like to progress down to 3:30, to progress down to 3, to progress, maybe chunky bit under 3. So like I think I can like empathize with where folks are at on their journey. So I might not be a bad coach if I ever wanted to, but it's really time consuming. I have a lot of respect for folks who are able to really and I think it's also like really important. Like if you're coaching someone, like you have to be really dialed in. And just something I appreciate about my coach is like you have to like really understand where that athlete is at, and you have to really understand like what a good workout looks like for them. It's tough enough to know for myself, like, okay, cool, I'm doing this, I'm trying to get here. This is what a 5K, like a 800 repeat interval workout should look like. These are good times. These are times that are showing I'm pushing too hard. So like to be that dialed in, I really respect the time that coaches put in to, be able to do that. And like, I think that's something that like, if I don't think I could deliver on, I don't want to do it half-assed for somebody. So.
Yeah, Carolyn, and I'll let her speak to it, but Carolyn recently switched coaches for, I think, some of those reasons that you just described. Chase has gone through the process of switching coaches for, similar reasons. I stopped having, I coach myself, but I decided to become a coach because I was experiencing coaches that just weren't dialed into me. And I kind of learned from their mistakes, essentially. Like I know what I think a good coach is based on what they weren't, essentially.
Yeah.
So we've all kind of had those coaches experience. But yeah, Carolyn, I think you're pretty fresh because you just recently changed yours.
Yeah. I changed mine right after I ran Chicago. And that gave her 14 weeks to train me for Houston. I don't know why I expected to PR. I ran a 3:49 at Chicago, and that was run walking after mile 15. And I was telling my new coach, like, why I got a new coach, what I'm looking for. And she was just like, you did a 3:49 on a cookie cutter plan. Because, like, my previous coach had over 100 athletes. He's a great coach, but I was getting the same workouts for 3 years. And I mean, it works for some of his athletes. I think he's a great friend, a great person, a good runner, but it didn't work for me. And with this new coach, like I have never been more uncomfortable. Like I've never had a repeat workout, and she's constantly like educating me on fueling, why I'm working out, how I should be feeling. And I don't know, it's like made a world of difference.
I thought you had misspoke there for a second when you said never been more uncomfortable, but as you explained it, I get it. Yeah, that's funny.
I just got so complacent the past 3 years. It was like, okay, whatever. Like I already know what I'm going to do on Tuesday. Like it's been on my schedule the past 3 years. And people are like, okay, well, why didn't you switch before if you were doing the same crap? And it was like, you don't know what you don't know. So
I think that's why a lot of people switch coaches on a regular basis. Rob, how long have you been with your coach?
Since last August. Actually, the first time I've really had a coach, honestly. I was always like kind of self-coached. I worked decently. I ran a 2:57 my own, but this is taking it to a whole new level.
So are you still shooting for marathon PRs, or what's the goal for 2024 in terms of time?
Yeah, so I actually had a really big wake-up call in 2023. I was actually injured for most of the spring. I came out of Tokyo with a knee injury. It turned out to be that like my knee cartilage was not doing so well, didn't want to stick around. So I had to take 2 months off to recover from that, and basically I realized like, okay, maybe I should like start thinking about how to have like a sustainable lifetime of running. So for Chicago, when my goal was to crack 3 hours, but do it on materially less mileage than I've ever run before. I ended up exceeding my goal and PRing. I didn't think I had 256 in me. I was like, if I can run 259, that's a miracle. 259.59, that'd be a miracle. But I ran 256. and it was on 37% less mileage than any other sub-3 cycle that I had done. So the goal for this year is now I want to run 249 in Boston and do that without ever having a 60-mile week, which would again be, at least previous to Chicago, at least a 30% reduction in the mileage that I would have done for any other sub-3 cycle, but try to go 249 in Boston. It's a tall task, if I'm honest, to take effectively, like if you course adjust from Chicago to Boston and then like probably not going to have a perfect day like we had in Chicago. It's like taking 10 minutes off in 6 months. And it's not like I'm a new runner, so it's a bit of a tall task, but like, I don't know, set big goals.
Sounds
Why
like you and I are both shooting for the same PR. I'm looking for sub 250 in Chicago. 250, 249 is where I want to be.
Let's go.
Chase here, trying to go sub 240.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
hoping I'll be well under that by the time we get to Chicago, Jake. That's what the plan is.
Yeah, you got
I got man. Houston did it to me again, man. Houston got me again. Like free Run Homies. You guys know Run Homies, Josh Acosta.
Yep.
Yeah, he crushed it. Ran like 236. So I'm angry, proud of him. But I'm coming after that time. I want that time.
Well,
So we'll see. I got Carmel coming up, but Chicago's probably more realistic, really, to have a good shot at PRing.
That's awesome. Wait for me at the finish line. You guys are going to go ahead.
Right. Chase waited for me at the finish line in Indianapolis because we both did Indianapolis, and he crossed like 6 minutes ahead of me, 7 minutes ahead of me, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chase is quick. He's a quick dude.
Dude, that's
I'm
awesome.
just trying to maximize it while I still. I'm almost caught up with you, Jake. I'm getting old.
Yeah, Chase is almost. So I'm 43, Rob. I don't know if you know that. So I qualify for those time qualifier championships, and
Yeah, I will. I'll be qualifying in December. So.
And Chase is about to be a Masters runner here in December.
Yo, get out there. Let's go to Australia. Come on.
No kidding, man. No kidding.
I'm excited about it. I hope they do it. I'm not so stoked about the South Africa one, but
not with the current state of Cape Town now. Yeah. But yeah, Sydney looks fun. Sydney looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a great city. I was just there over the holidays and basically did like a little bit of a course preview and met with some of the marathon team, and it's going to be cool.
Chase, you missed it. I brought up how Rob got to interview Kipchoge after Berlin. Mm-hmm. Chase was in Berlin also. He did the Berlin.
Yeah, I was in Berlin.
We did, because of Chase, he met Craig Engels there, and so he got his contact, and we actually had Craig Engels on our
I saw that.
Our podcast.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Pretty cool. But Craig Engels isn't Kipchoge either. So.
Yeah, but he's the awesome dude.
Way to insult Craig, man.
Yeah.
No, Craig was bad.
Yeah, man. We love Craig. Come on, man. We go insulting our biggest guests, and they're never gonna come.
No, dude, Craig was cool. We talked about everything from drinking beer to hair gel and
hair products.
Lack thereof, I should say. Like, he doesn't use anything.
Just wakes up like that. That's great.
Well, he does. Yeah,
he does. That's the thing. What did he say? That. Like, he hasn't washed his hair in years.
In like 10 years.
Yeah. It's 2 for me now. Like, I haven't washed my hair in 2 years. So yeah.
Well, good for you guys. I just got sent. I got this, like, in my DMs. I got a message from a anti-dandruff. This is good because I'm plugging them now because I was like, I'm not posting. I have no reason to do this. It's called Flakes, and they're like slip into my DMs and they're like, "Hey, do you need some shampoo?" I'm like, "Yo, why do you think I have dandruff? But also I have dandruff. So like, yes, I want your stuff." I'm like, but I'm not talking about it on my Instagram. Like, I'm not outing myself like that. So Flakes, that's what's up. I won't lie. Like, I just got a couple of days ago. It's fire. Like, I think my dandruff's gone. So like, it's good stuff. But like, I'm gonna consider this to be my shouting them out because I'm not posting about it.
It's one of those that you don't want to.
Like, you don't want to talk about, guys. I'll just buy it. Like, I don't want to have to talk about it.
Be like if somebody slipped into your DMs with like an ED pill or something like that. Like, hey, will you talk about the? No, I won't talk about it. I might try it though. Go ahead and send it to me.
I was like,
That's like
I was like, why do you think this? They're like, we're just good like that.
I had
We could tell.
I had a coffee company that remember, Chase? I think I told you about it. I had a coffee company that reached out to me, and they're like, "Yeah, we'd love to partner with you." Fun fact, Rob, I've never tasted coffee ever in my life. But the smell of it, it's just I absolutely despise it. And so I immediately turned them down. I was like, "Dude, I'm the absolute last person you want to represent you." Like, I'm honored, I really am, but no. The answer is no.
That's hilarious. I should go get my shampoo bottle and conditioner bottle and just put them in my shoulder.
Well, Rob, I think we're at just about time. But before we head out, do you want to plug your social media? Where can people find you?
Yeah, Rob Dalto, Pursuit of Performance, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Actually, sometimes I'll post to Shorts. Why not? Might as well.
I have seen some of those shorts, so that's awesome. And you can also find Rob on some Wolaco ads. Wolaco?
Oh yeah, Wolaco. Oh yeah, we did a
Yeah,
couple.
I saw that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did a couple. Yeah, that's fun. Look, I was just wearing their shorts because they're like their tights are like by far the best that exist. So I was like already wearing them, and then like they're actually a New York based company, and then we were like flirting in the comments, like should we do something? Should we do something? And then we ended up just like filming some ads. So that's been fun. Yeah, it's a great product. So yeah, you'll see me in their ads.
My wife got me a pair for Christmas, so
The distance tight?
jury's still out on it, but
Yeah, I got a pair too, Rob, and I wear them. I wear them because I paid $135 freaking for them. So that's why I wear them. But jury's still out on them for
You
sure.
got the distance tight,
Yeah,
and you don't like them.
I like them.
yeah, I like them.
You've raced in them.
Yeah, I raced at Indianapolis Monumental. I wore them for that marathon. I like the pockets. I like that they can hold all my gels and I don't have to do it. I don't want to say I don't like, what I'm not 100% on is the actual compression. Because I've been so used to 2XU, which is like skin tight, like blood circulating compression, and that's what I like.
Yeah.
And the Wolaco ones just doesn't stand to the compression of 2XU. Now 2XU doesn't have pockets, not one single pocket in any of their tights.
Yeah.
Until I run a marathon, I'm not gonna really, I want to give my full review or anything like that. But my biggest thing right now is the breathability. I don't think they're they're just not as comfortable as my other half tights. Now the pockets are great. Yeah, the pockets are, what you can do with those pockets is fantastic. But my drawstring got messed up in the first time in the wash, so my drawstring's all jacked up now. Very first time in the wash. Yeah.
Oh my god, I've got like 6 pairs, and I've been wearing them for literally every run. I've never lost a drawstring. If it's fucked up, call them, send them back. They'll sort you out. That I've never heard a drawstring issue. They'll sort you out with a new pair.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll reach out to them.
Yeah, I haven't had any technical issues with them. I actually used your discount code, Rob, that you put on your social media at one point in time.
Glad I can help. It's the only discount code that I peddle, or even have. I'm like, hey, they're expensive, so if everyone wants them, here's some help.
They are. Yeah, the jury's still out for me. Like I said, once I run a marathon in them, I'll probably enjoy them for that, because, like I said, the pockets are great. I think my Nikes are more comfortable, but they definitely don't have the storage space.
You have like the Nike, they're like thin with like the little like rib on
ridges. Yeah.
I used to wear those, but for me the storage is important, and even if I put like one gel in those, because they're so thin, like it would literally, like, even if it was in the pocket, be bouncing around. So like the pockets mean a lot to me. So I'm like, that's like one of my biggest like pluses on them. So like there's when it comes to that aspect, I'm like, nothing's holding up against these.
Well, yeah, the quality of them is unmatched. That's for sure. Like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Nothing's going to bounce around in them. I mean, I'll say the good things about it. I'll go ahead and get my good plug out of the way.
All good.
Yeah, you won't hear me. I do like them. I'm never going to hate them like I hate Brooks, but shots fired.
I'm over here. I've been trying to be civil lately, Carolyn. I want you to remember that whenever Brooks comes asking about me. I've been trying to be civil lately.
Brooks is never going to ask about me. I've accepted it. So I know
Ghost
where I
Max
stand
isn't
with
my
weather.
favorite shoe, but it's not my least favorite shoe either. So
I know where I stand. Anyways, guys, we got to head out. This has been a fun episode with Mr. Rob Dalto. Again, follow him on all social media platforms, Pursuit of Performance at Rob_Dalto. You can find us at RunTok Live on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course our individual accounts on TikTok. The Cultural Runner for me, Chase Adams for Chase here, and Carolyn McDuff, not Carolyn Levinway, on TikTok and Instagram. With that, guys, I think we're done.
we're done.
Peace out.
Deuces.
Peace.